Hi, Home Slices. It's Kiera with Home Slice Adulting, and I'm coming to you today with my review for Love and Hip Hop Miami, Season 1, Episode 6. Now, the title of this episode is Saints and Sinners, but before I get started, I just wanted to give everybody a little reminder. This year, I started a book club, and we're reading one book a month. Last month, we read The Last Black Unicorn by Tiffany Haddish. I have a review for that on my channel if you want to check that out. And I can put a link in the top right corner of this video. But for this month, it is the beginning of February, so if anyone is interested in joining us this month for this particular book, we are reading Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. And because this is such a popular and powerful book, it will be available in your local library, so it won't cost you anything to read it if you have a library card. So if anybody is interested in reading that book, you have till the end of the month, and on February 28th, I will come to you guys with a review for the book and we can have a discussion. But let's get started on the Love and Hip Hop Miami review. Now, first we're going to talk about the whole Bobby and Jeffrey mess all the way through. So first we see Bobby talking to Miami Tip, and then we see Jeffrey talking to his two friends, Ebony and Ivory, and they talk about what happened at the pool party, and Jeffrey just cannot get over the fact that Bobby put his hands on him. He just slapped the mess out of him in public, and Jeffrey just was not having that. Something tells me that in, a previous life or something, he has known someone, or maybe he has known someone who's been in an abusive relationship and he just was not tolerating it. But Bobby knows from the way that Jeffrey reacted that he slept with Malik. So that sucks. Now, Jeffrey, interestingly enough, is super wrong in the situation. He cheated on his boyfriend, but he's using the little open hand slap to make Bobby more wrong than he is in the situation. Now, the way I see it, was Bobby legally wrong for slapping Jeffrey? Yes. But Jeffrey low-key deserved it. I'm not saying that you should go around hitting people, but it wasn't like Jeffrey did nothing to deserve it. He slept around. But moving on, Jeffrey's talking to his friends, and he brings up Malik's name, and they're like, why are you trying to go with Malik? He did everything he could to deny that he knew you, let alone had a relationship with you. Why are you trying to go back to him? And Malik has this weird loyalty kind of thing going on, where he's like, hey, he was one of my first loves and we have history and that kind of stuff. And I really wish people would stop using having history with somebody as a reason to stay with somebody when the relationship didn't work out. Just move on. But anyway, Bobby's very upset with himself. And, Miami Tip is basically telling him, hey, just let him know how you feel. So moving on, we see Malik and Prince, and Malik feels that because, bringing Jeffrey to Prince's party caused such a kerfuffle that he has to explain himself. And part of explaining himself is that, he's gay and that he's seeing Jeffrey. And essentially he comes out of the closet, for the first time to Prince, and Prince is super supportive, and I was waiting for Prince to say me too. Y'all, something about Prince comes off as bi or gay to me. But Prince said, it's not a surprise to him. He kind of picked up on some of Malik's behavior and figured that he was gay. But Prince was the first person that Malik came out to, and it was the first step in Malik being free and open about his sexuality. So moving on, we see Bobby talking to Jeffrey, and Bobby has set up this odd looking hotel to apologize, and I'm tired. Rose petals and fake candles. Good on the fake candles thing, because places can burn down or whatever. But essentially Bobby tries to apologize and gets on his knees and beg, and essentially it really doesn't work. Jeffrey is really not here for the fact that Bobby slapped him. And again, when somebody is in the wrong, somebody like Jeffrey is in the wrong and for stepping out on a relationship, they will find anything that the innocent person did to make it to make themselves seem right. And so he used that whole slapping situation to get out of a relationship that he really wasn't happy in anyway. And it's like, if you weren't happy in your relationship with Bobby, why didn't you leave him then mess around with Malik? So whatever. Bobby is super dramatic. He gets down on his knees to apologize. At one point, they're yelling at each other. Then the next point, Bobby is like, please take me back. And it was just so weird. And Jeff forgives Bobby, but he said he's never going to forget it. And essentially, they break up. Bobby is there crying on the couch, real dramatic, like. And basically, Jeffrey blamed Bobby for him cheating on him. And the relationship is over. Bobby deserves better, and I feel like because the foundation of Malik and Jeffrey getting back together was based on Jeffrey cheating on his boyfriend, something bad is going to happen in their relationship. That's just the way karma works. But moving on, we see Malik and Jeffrey. What is up with them meeting up at like a beach or something with only the headlights showing up? Like they do this on a lot of shows, but you know, the city line or the skyline or whatever is in the background. And Malik is like really terrified of living his life as a out and proud gay man. But he says, you know, he'll be openly gay for Jeffrey. He's very afraid of what it's going to do to his career and his connections. And he's heard horror stories about that and whatnot. And I'm going to assume that if you're gay in a relationship and one of you is out and openly gay and the other person is not, that it's just emotionally draining to be in a relationship with somebody who's kind of ashamed to be seen with you. So it's interesting to see how Jeffrey is going to have to help or, you know, coddle Malik to help him live his life out loud. So something's gonna go wrong in their relationship again because Jeffrey cheated on Bobby, because that's karma. But I feel like Malik his life will change and hopefully it'll improve. But moving on, we'll talk about the whole Steph, Veronica, and JoJo situation. So Steph is at a video shoot. I don't know how to feel about Steph's song. It was interesting. The video looked very Busta Rhymes in the 90s, glow in the dark kind of thing. I don't know if Steph is a rapper, a singer. I don't know whether to think her music is good or bad. I may actually have to listen to the song to make a judgment call. But moving on, Veronica is there, and Veronica feels like JoJo betrayed her by telling Amara the truth about them talking about behind Amara's back. And it's like, if somebody betrays you, typically they betray you with like a lie or doing something deceptive. JoJo told the truth, so I don't know that can be considered betrayal. But moving on, I feel like she has a warped sense of friendship. It's real weird. But moving on, Veronica wants to talk to JoJo, and I'm trying to figure out if Steph is trying to get Veronica to do her dirty work, because Steph clearly feels some type of way about JoJo going to Amara to tell them about the conversation that they had with, you know, Young Hollywood or whatever. But Steph didn't talk to JoJo herself. She basically kind of sent Veronica to do it. So Steph is coming off like a coward to me these days. But moving on, we see Veronica and JoJo having a conversation, and Veronica is saying that in that conversation they had with Yo Hollywood, Veronica didn't say anything behind Amara's back that she wouldn't say to Amara's face. And I think that's true, but I felt like because they were having the conversation with somebody that Amara wasn't cool with at the time, it did come off as if they were talking behind her back and that they were entertaining a conversation with a dude that Amara wasn't on good terms with when they're supposed to be her friends. So I see why JoJo did it, but I've always felt like it's a gray area when you're trying to tell something that somebody else said. Like, are you being messy? Are you trying to be a good friend? And then we have the fact that JoJo and Amara aren't really that close. Like, why was JoJo going back to tell them that when she's not even as close to Amara as Steph and Veronica? It comes off very weird. I felt like well, I felt like it could look like JoJo was being messy. I kind of feel like JoJo did the right thing. But moving on, JoJo feels like she did the right thing as well. And Veronica gets caught with her pants down because Amara told JoJo that Veronica said something about her not wanting to hang out with JoJo because she felt JoJo was too bougie, or Veronica said too cute. And it looks like it caught Veronica off guard that Amara would go back and tell JoJo something about what she had said behind JoJo's back. So I feel like that was really weird. JoJo called her on that, but she copped to it. And Veronica doesn't like that Amara outed her as being fake. Now, Veronica calls JoJo Two-Face when she just confessed to talking about JoJo behind her back. And then JoJo kind of ruins... I really like JoJo kind of up until this point where she's like, well, I'm rich and it'll cost me money if I slap you. And I was like, JoJo, that can't always be like your go-to defense as being rich and having something to lose. But whatever. That doesn't bother Veronica. Veronica's very calm throughout the situation. Things get heated. They start yelling over each other. Can't really understand them. JoJo ends up throwing a drink, which negates the whole statement about her losing money if she, physically assaults Veronica. So I didn't like the way that situation happened, but I also feel like I really don't like Veronica. She does do a good job at remaining calm when other people get, rowdy or whatever, though. Now, moving on, we'll talk about Gunplay and Kiara. A dude named Stro Corleone died due to some gun violence. It's very sad to see, rest in peace to him, and, condolences to his family, and it's really affecting Gunplay. And there are major life events that happen to people that can cause them to engage in risky behaviors, and the death of a friend or family member is one of those things. And so, they said that they had moved back to Miami so he could get back on his music tip or whatever, but because he still has friends and family there that are going through things such as, dying in gun violence and going to jail and things along those lines that happen when you live in the hood, those things are impacting him, and it kind of sucks. And so he's kind of sinking into what appears to be like a mild depression. And he says he's, boxing with his demons. And Kiara is encouraging him to remain focused, but it doesn't seem to be working. And so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Shay and Scrappy next. So I was surprised to see that Scrappy was on this. I feel like somebody had mentioned it or I had heard it before, but I just didn't pay attention. Scrappy is on this show. That's interesting. The timeline is fuzzy because we all know that Scrappy is now married to Bambi. So the timeline is real fuzzy for me because this is back in like March. And I don't know when he actually got married to Bambi, but we'll see. It looks like Scrappy is going to mess over Shay again with Bambi. That sucks so hard. But moving on. Scrappy is trying to weasel his way back into Shay's life, saying that everything is in the past. And I'm like, it's definitely not in the past for Shay, because everything that happened in her relationship with Pleasure P has something to do with Scrappy, essentially. I feel like she was way too open to him coming back into her life, and he's just going back to the desperate old faithful that he, knows that he can rely on when his, relationship with his main chick ain't working out. Now, he said that, the whole situation with him messing over Shay, he was younger, and I was like, it was just like a few years ago. Like, okay. Moving on, Scrappy, proposed to his baby mama on TV and basically betrayed Shay on national TV, made her look like a fool. But he's worried about her having a boyfriend. Come on, Scrappy. Shay is an idiot. She needs to stop getting with these dudes. She needs to go see Iantla, okay? Now, next we see Gunplay, Scrappy, and the Chinese Uglies. The Gunplay is going through, and, it's like he's kind of looking for a good time, looking to find enjoyment out of other places. He has deadlines for his music. He's just kind of going through at this time. And so Scrappy is hoping that having a good time will take his mind off of it. But the ex-NFL player, somebody McKinney or something like that, brings the Chinese uglies through. The Kitty and the Nikki, and Scrappy is happy about it. I don't know why. They have some weird looking faces, particularly the mama. Okay, y'all, something about them just ain't right. But moving on, we know that Chinese Nikki is friends with Kiara, who is Gunplay's girlfriend, and when Chinese Nikki brings up her name, Gunplay has to get out of there because he realizes that he's supposed to be at the studio and he don't need Chinese Nikki to be snitching on him. So he leaves. And Chinese Ugly Jr. is apparently a rapper who is seeking help from Scrappy. And it's real interesting because y'all only know like 2 songs by Scrappy, and he's not that famous of a rapper. Kinda, but okay, you know, you get whatever help you can get, because I personally wouldn't take Chinese Ugly Jr. seriously. So, you know, as a rapper. So, you know, Scrappy is just real happy about the mother-daughter thing, and I think that's weird and that they're not cute. But moving on. The last thing about Gunplay and Kiara, y'all, this was super dramatic. Kiara finds $100 bill that has drugs on it in his pocket, and she sinks to the floor all dramatically. That was so dramatic. Like, how do you plan going through somebody's pants and finding drugs on camera? Something about that is very staged, and I don't like it. But moving on, I feel like it was super dramatic, but if he is back on drugs, that's very unfortunate, and he needs to, you know, get a handle on that. But lastly, is this the last thing we'll talk about? Yeah, lastly, we'll talk about Trick Daddy, Trina, Dawn, and Joy. And first we see Trina, Dawn, and Joy. Trina's getting her hair done. And she says that Joy is one of the best hairstylists in Miami. And I'm like, is she really? Because to be rich, Trina, I feel like your wigs don't be as on point as they should be. But moving on. Y'all, why is Dawn here? Why is Dawn here? I don't want to see Dawn. Moving on. Essentially, Trina and Dawn will mediate between Joy and Trick Daddy, and there's too many cooks in the kitchen as far as I'm concerned. But finally, we see all 4 of them at this event. Again, why is Dawn here? And Trina performs and announces her project with Trick Daddy. Trick Daddy comes out and he leaves the stage when he sees Joy and Dawn in the VIP section. Now, they all sit down in the back, and Trick wants to know, essentially, what do you want? Because I'm tired of talking to you, essentially. And so Joy says she wants out, and Trick Daddy says, you know, I have feelings too. I'm hurt by this, and I'm angry, and there's nothing to talk about. And I don't understand why he seems so surprised that she wants out. I feel like by not granting her a divorce and by keeping them separated, he's kind of using his power over her and kind of holding her hostage. And she's finally saying, I want out. And he's kind of butthurt about it. But I don't get it. If y'all haven't talked in 4 years, why are you hanging on to a marriage that just doesn't work? That doesn't make sense to me. But moving on, yeah, that is it, y'all. We'll talk about what's going to happen next time on Love and Hip Hop Miami. We have Trick Daddy having a divorce party. I feel like that's interesting. I also feel like that's something that women do. I've never heard of a man having a divorce party, but you know, gender roles don't mean anything these days, and they shouldn't. Don't get me wrong. But moving on, Trick is back on the market. Are any of you guys interested? I'm not. Moving on, Amada and Young Hollywood are back on the same page, and apparently he's going to do some stuff for her and help her, you know, get her career on track. Now, Kiara is worried about Gunplay, and he ends up flipping out, but the flipping out where he flips the chair looks kind of fake to me. Again, I don't like contrived story. I don't like obviously contrived storylines, and something about theirs seems contrived to me. And I feel like Gunplay is, you know, too real of a dude to do that. So hopefully they're not being fake about the whole storyline, but it kind of looks that way. Moving on, Shay is once again making demands about who her man should do business with and whatnot. She feels like Scrappy should not have any dealings with the Chinese butterfaces, and I don't know where she gets the authority to feel like she should, you know, say, hey, you can't work with this person or that person. But whatever, you know, it's Shay feeling like she should be entitled, when she's only like the side chick that people kind of throw away. But moving on, Shay and the Chinese hoes face off, and Dawn is there. Again, why is Dawn here? But it looks like it's going to still be interesting. I enjoyed this episode, and that's the end of my review. Thank you guys for watching. I want to thank everyone who is consistently subscribing and liking and watching and commenting on my videos. I really have enjoyed the growth of my channel. A lot of people have talked about the new regulations that YouTube is enforcing that stops basically smaller YouTubers from making money on YouTube. I don't want anybody to worry. I've never mentioned this before, but I will continue to grow my channel. It's just something that I kind of have a heart for doing, something that I enjoy doing, and it's not just for the money. Not that I've made a lot of money doing it, but thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with your friends who would like it as well. And peace out, home slices.